Now today I'm going to talk about some of the issues. The Democrats say they want to run on Joe Biden's record, okay? But the problem is, if they're trying to run on Joe Biden's record, then why are they trying to get candidates disqualified, Republican candidates disqualified, like Marjorie Greene and Cawthorn? Why are they trying to get them disqualified by saying they participated in this election when there has been no actual evidence that they did? And the DOJ hasn't even charged them. It's kind of like Trump. They're trying to get him disqualified by the same means. But the thing is, no, not the DOJ has charged Trump with any kind of capital riot-related crime. Okay? And you got then why is also the select committee putting out these documents that don't really prove a crime was committed, but it gives the idea to the voters that some kind of crime was committed. Because the voters are not, typical legal analysts. They're not lawyers. They're not this. But sometimes you can't even trust the legal analysts because they're biased. So the legal opinion is based off their hatred for Trump as well. But honestly, the DOJ is seeing this to a perspective of that they want to have evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. And I'm not saying they haven't gone after Republicans in a political way. We saw them go after Fortenberry, and they didn't really have evidence that he committed a financial violation crime, that he knew that he was getting money. But this is Trump. It's somebody that, has more support than Representative Fortenberry. So they want to go more on evidence instead of just finding a jury that's, favorable against that person they're bringing a criminal case for. That's the only reason why they're taking a different way at this than what they did with Representative Fortenberry on financial contributions. Even Mueller, per se, wanted to go through thousands of documents and go through hundreds and hundreds of interviews, when he did his 2-year investigation, because he knew this was Trump again. This ain't like Representative Fortenberry. I bring him up, well, they can just, find a favorable jury, but because of the American public, like 50% of support Trump, 50%, almost 50% of Americans support Trump. It would be a big issue if they just did what they did with Representative Fortenberry. Okay? Now, then why do they keep bringing up this ex-prosecutor who said Trump should be charged in New York? I mean, that's the thing is, the Manhattan DA has not said that. The Manhattan DA said there's possibly not enough evidence to charge Trump. And he is a liberal Democrat. But again, this is talking about Trump. You gotta say this is about Trump. He's not gonna just try to find a favorable jury. He's got to have, if he's gonna charge somebody like Trump, you're gonna have, or even Trump's closest allies, you need to have actual evidence and beyond a reasonable doubt evidence. You can't just keep finding favorable juries that's going to convict the person because they don't like the person or like the party they represent. I mean, there's an appeal process, and it's not always going to be favorable to the prosecutor. So basically, the thing is, if Democrats are going to look at inflation, now they're blaming Russia for inflation, for the higher gas prices, for the higher food prices. You got CNN trying to say, his climate change policies had nothing to do with the oil prices going up. That's not true. Okay? From a business perspective, I have a management degree. From a business perspective, if you cut the supply, and you have more demand, prices are gonna go up. And that's what Joe Biden did. He cut the supply by restricting what was available as land for drilling, federal lands. He said new permits are not allowed. And then he took the Keystone and the other pipelines and started shutting them down. The thing is, that's the supply. And people don't want to understand that 38% of Keystone was going to stay here in the U.S., okay? It wasn't all going to be exported out. And plus, he as president could have opened more to allow more oil from Canada and U.S. to stay in the U.S. I mean, that's what he could do, but no, he wants to reduce it because of climate change. And that is what started the gas prices to go up, because oil prices went up. And then food prices went up because they had to pay more in transportation costs to get the food to the stores. From the warehouse to the stores. I mean, the thing is, President Biden doesn't want to take the blame, okay? And he has the media, which is local and national media. I mean, this is thousands and thousands of media outlets that are pro-Biden, anti-Trump, and anti-Republican. And they say, okay, well, we want to run an record. Well, you're not running on your record, Democrats. You're not running on Biden's record. You're running on a media that is so incensed to keep Democrats in power. Okay? To keep Biden in power, that they are twisting everything and to make it in favor of Biden and Democrats. I mean, if you're for or against Russia, if you look at what Biden did, he did not target the oil and gas as in sanctions. Yes, he banned the oil and gas coming to the United States. All right, we only had, 8% last year, and in January, we didn't even use any Russian oil at all. I mean, gas, we really don't use Russian gas at all. I mean, that didn't affect it. If you're going to cut Russia's money off, you have to do sanctions on oil and gas. Sanctions are what prevents other countries to buy the oil, because they could get punished for buying that oil. But no, people don't want to talk about Hunter Biden's laptop, but that's the thing. New York Times said the context is real. And that's what gets into why Joe Biden did not do the sanctions. Because Hunter Biden still has investments with Burisma. But the thing is, Burisma services Russian annexed Crimea. Okay? So that means money he makes is because of Russia. Okay? Now, if and even the New York Times said that it does look like that Joe Biden shares a bank account. The President Joe Biden shares a bank account with his son, Hunter. So any money that Hunter makes from investments overseas, Joe Biden has access to it, and that's part of his money, I guess. Because he has access to, he can get it. So, yeah, if he actually sanctions Russian oil and gas, then he would lose money. So, it's kind of like European. They depend on Russian oil and gas. That's why they don't sanction Russian oil and gas. They don't even ban it because, they use like 50%, oil and gas from Russia. So, that's the thing. Nobody sanctioned, including Biden, because of their personal reasons, okay? So the war keeps going on and keeps going on. Now, Ukraine has done a good job on their own defense because they know they're not going to get help from the United States or European countries militarily, and the economic actions by the U.S. and European countries really did nothing. You know, it didn't stop anything because it wasn't the money makers like oil and gas. There was no sanctions on those. And then what about what Trump said? You know, the media distorted what Trump said. Trump has always condemned the Russian invasion. I mean, he said it should have never happened from Clay and Buck show. CPAC is atrocity against humanity. And then he called it Putin's Holocaust on Fox News. And then he said that Putin has a big ego, that he's not willing to end this war, this invasion, because he's so into himself, basically, that he has to do this. So, you know, again, if you're running on your record, okay, because Trump, you know, if you're running on your record, then you should run on your issues, okay, that you support. Unless you know that the majority of Americans are no longer supporting the issues, the progressive issues that you support. Okay? Maybe that's the reason why, like mask mandates, vaccines mandates, even guns, you know, banning guns, restricting guns. I mean, maybe you believe that, hey, majority of Americans are not for that anymore. And transgender sports, I mean, you know, maybe the majority of Americans no longer support transgender women participating in female sports. I mean, you had Democrats that wrote letters saying they don't support transgender women participating in female sports. You had that happen. Even Democrats that wrote letters, Democratic voters. I mean, it's just an issue that, you know, you think and that's why you need to make the Trump look bad and have the media make Trump look bad, make Republicans in Congress look bad, and try to get them disqualified and all that. It's because you know there's a chance you're going to lose this time. And maybe that's the reason why. It's because now there's identity verification in like Georgia, which there wasn't before. And and that's why you say identity verification is racist, because you want to have not to be there, because there's a chance that, hey, maybe there was fraud. But we had anti-Trump Republicans in charge or Democrats in charge that didn't care if there was fraud or not, that they just wanted Trump out of office. I mean, nobody can actually show me evidence there was no fraud, because I asked for documents from several different Secretary of States. I said, why don't you show me? Only one that responded to me is the Ohio Secretary of State. And yeah, Trump won it. But here's the deal. The question is there fraud at all? So even if it was a state that Trump won, okay? But the thing is, he told me that they don't do citizenship checks at the audits. That they only check a small percentage of ballots for each county. A small percentage. No, you need to check every single ballot for fraud, because fraudulent ballots could be in the top, the middle, the bottom. They could be in batches of 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. You need to do a full audit. You need to do a full county and full check of citizenship, identity, residency, and other disqualifying factors. You need to do that. Now, Ohio, on the other hand, does require your last 4 digits of your Social Security number or your state ID number. So that's different from the other states. Georgia didn't. They do now. Arizona still doesn't. Texas requires it. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, they don't require it. Michigan doesn't require it. Yeah, so the thing is, the swing states are what matters. Okay, people don't understand. The swing states are the ones that matter because they're the ones that make the decision who's going to be president. All the other states, they're pretty much set blue or red. Blue or red. Okay, so if there is fraud, it's not enough to change the vote. But the thing is, in these swing states, it can. Okay? And it's, okay, in this way, it can't. So the only thing I could suggest to you is this. Alright? If you're gonna run on your record, then do it. Run on the issues. And I'm sadly enough, American voters are so influenced by the media. They are so influenced by the media. Excuse me. They are so influenced by the media that they don't even research this stuff. Whatever CNN tells them is automatically true. Whatever ABC News, CBS, all the big Washington Post, the New York Times, and all this, they don't research this. But they don't understand a lot of these places are lean left, you know? And the reason is, that means they want Democrats to win. And you can't typically believe that. But I found sources. I went to Newsweek and I went to other websites. And even the New York Times sometimes will publish stuff like that when they said that Hunter Biden's laptop contents was real. That was surprising because the New York Times was saying it was fake from the very beginning. But now they're saying it's real. All the information is real that was in the laptop. Okay? But sometimes they change, But CNN never changes. CNN, for example, will keep saying the same thing. They will never change because they're so badly that they want Democrats and to win. They want Democrats and Biden to stay in power. But it's a sad thing that they keep saying, okay, they're running on the record, but they're not really running on the record. They're running on whatever the media publishes about Republicans and Trump. Thank you.